going to be recorded. All right, thank you everyone. Sorry for that. We've got about half of this class members on. So my name's Steve Davis, and I'm happy to be teaching this class again. And we are excited for a new semester. Just maybe, and so this is how these work. It's better if it's back and forth, not just you and me talking to you. So right now I've muted everybody, but if you want to talk or ask a question or make a point, go ahead and just unmute your microphone, and then when you're done talking, then mute it again, so we don't have all this back and forth. But this class, I've taught for a long time. I think it's a class everybody should take. And if I was to sum up what we're going to do in this class for this semester, is embodied in this quote by Socrates, who said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." So for the next 13 weeks, we're going to be examining our lives, my life and your life. And the basis of what we're going to be going through is in this book by David Christensen called Inner Victory. And in this book, we're going to be learning about ourselves, and we're going to be creating something. Now, I want to give you a little history of this class. This is Brother Christensen. David Christensen taught here at BYU Idaho for many years. Before he taught at BYU Idaho, he was a trainer for the Franklin Covey World. He was actually part of the Franklin group. And he went around teaching people how to be successful, how to live by their values, how to set goals, how to be productive. And he was one of my mentors. Well, I taught this class in the classroom. He taught this class in the classroom. And then we built it. His job was to build it for online. But they kept calling him away to be a mission president. He was a mission president in Chile. He came home. They made him a mission president of the Guatemala MTC. So as he kept leaving, then it fell on me to kind of get this course online. And what we're going to be doing in this class is we're simply going to be doing this very, very important activity. If you were to build a house or a building or a shop or a barn or anything, you would start with a blueprint, some plans. And what we're going to be building in this class is a blueprint for your life. And what we're building is something called a personal creed document. As we go through this textbook and the 13 lessons, step by step, we're going to build this personal creed document. Now, as you go through the course, each week there's going to be activities that support this. There's going to be some readings. But our goal is to help you build this document. And most of your grade is going to be each part of this document and your final product at the end of the semester. So to give you an example of what we're doing, there are 7 parts to your personal creed document. Okay? The first part, think about the church's Articles of Faith. Joseph Smith wrote the Articles of Faith so people could know what Mormonism is about. What we have here is we have your Articles of Faith. What are the things that you believe in? So I'm going to show you an example of each of these 7 parts. So we won't start building your personal creed document until about lesson 4. So we'll do some things to build up to it. Then you're going to build part 1, which is your beliefs. Part 2 is something that we call we call the law of light. But what you're going to be building here is you're going to connect with the mentor, and you're going to build a board of advisors. So this one has kind of 2 parts. So think about somebody in your life who's made a difference, who's been a mentor for you. And then you're going to build your board of advisors. So a board of advisors would be, if you had a particular challenge, who would be the people that you would want around the table? Who are the people that are going to be so let's use an example. Let's say you're deciding on a career choice. And you say, okay, if I could get anybody around a table, who would be the 5 or 6 or 7 people that you would want around that table to give you advice on how to tackle a problem, how to sort through something, okay? Then the next one, you're going to do something about this is what we call the law of uniqueness. All of us are different. You're going to write a little document that says, These are my strengths. These are my abilities. These are the things that I can benefit, how I can benefit others. That's part 3. Okay. After we build part 3, we're going to take about a 3-week break on building your personal creed document to get prepared for part 4. And the reason we do that is we want part 4 to be the heart and soul of your creed document. And part 4 is going to be on your values. They're all important, but this is, I think, the most important. Why do you do things? What is most important to you? Is it your faith? Is it your family? Is it your career? Is it your, something, a cause that you care about? Okay. And then we're going to write some goals. The goals are based upon your values. So goal setting is super important. Part 6 is on gratitude. There's 3 parts to gratitude. Part 1 is people who've made a difference. Let's see if I have this, I remember. Part 2 are events that have shaped your life. And part 3 has to do with forgiveness, okay? And then the last thing we build is your mission statement. Your mission statement is kind of the capstone. Now, if Stephen Covey was teaching this class, he would have his mission statement first. We're going to build up to and have your mission statement last, okay? So that is the course. Okay. Any questions? I'm going to talk about grading and assignments, and then we'll wrap up. But any questions?
Yes, what was the part 6?
Part 6 is on gratitude. And it has kind of 3 little parts. But so here's the good news. As you go through each of this, you're going to build each section step by step. And as you build that, then you're going to have a final product at the end. The end is very simple. You just take the 7 parts, you package it up, and you submit it. Now, you will notice as I go backwards through these, all of these look very different. How you build this, is it in PowerPoint? Is it a Prezi? Is it just a PDF Word document? Do you want to include pictures? Do you want to include quotes? The examples I have used are a little more graphical. Yours doesn't have to be, right? That's up to you. You want this to be your personal creed document. You want it to reflect your style. Okay? Other questions?
So as part of the book, are we going to follow or as we're reading the book, is it going to affect what we're putting in this document?
Yeah,
little parts?
7 chapters in the book have a personal creed document assignment at the end. So even if you weren't in this class, you could order this book, read it, and build your own personal creed document just for fun, right? That's a good exercise. So, but through the semester, we're going to talk about each of these principles in depth, like on values or on goals. And then at the end, we're going to have you build it. I will always show you examples of different personal creed documents as we go along. Next week, you'll be shown 7 different examples. And, again, I want you to emphasize, I'm going to emphasize the word personal. Okay, this is your creed document. It's not mine, it's not your brother's, it's not your friends, it's not your classmates. It's your personal creed document. And you'll know if you are successful in this class is if your house burned down, you would be really bothered by the fact that you lost your journal, your scriptures, your family pictures, and your personal creed document. If it's a treasure to you at the end and something that you're going to use, my personal creed document I keep under my bed, and each year I update it, right? So I don't think my values are going to change or my beliefs, but my goals for this year might be different than my goals for last year. I might have had an experience this year that is so impactful that I'm going to add it to one of my impactful experiences. Does that make sense? Okay, now through the semester, I'm going to introduce you to some other books. One of these books is How Will You Measure Your Life? It's also by a brother Christensen, but a different one. And this is the one that I'm just going to mention that to you now because there's going to be several books I introduce. They're not going to be part of any graded assignment, but I want to interject them to this. So let's talk a little bit about grading, okay? I have two sections of about 50 students per section. So there's 100 kids in the class. So actually I'm wrong. We have 25% of you here today. I know that not everybody can do this meeting at this time. So I'm not going to have the meeting every Monday at 5. Next week it might be Tuesday at 5, or it might be Tuesday at 8:30. I'll always let you know on Sunday when the meeting is. The second this meeting is over, I'm going to create this, turn this into a YouTube video, and I'm going to send it to everybody. So for 25 of you, you won't have to watch the recording. You're done with the meeting. But there is this assignment, and this assignment is where you get to the end of the week, and you're going to report on this lesson this week and this meeting. If you attended the meeting live, so all 25 of you, all you need to do in the top box of that assignment is write attended, okay? Everybody else, and then there's 2 questions afterwards, which I don't have a picture of. There's 2 more questions, and on those 2 questions, everybody's going to answer the last 2. What did you like or dislike about the meeting, and maybe a highlight from it or the lesson. So I know it's not going to be any more time for those who watch the recording, but if you watch the recording, you do have to answer that top box question with a couple of paragraphs, okay? The other things that I want to share with you is my philosophy on grading. Now, it drives me crazy because this is an easy class. It's got a couple of assignments every week. Some weeks are a little busier than others. The only way not to get an A in this class is to just miss work. So if you start on Monday, make sure everything's handed in by Friday at midnight, which is almost everything. This class meeting report and a lesson evaluation is due on Saturday, okay? Almost everything else is due on Friday. So if you don't procrastinate, you get your work done, you'll get an A. Now, if your computer freaks out, if you're out of the country on a cruise, if you have a baby, if something prohibits you from being able to get online and having access, which there's sometimes legitimate reasons for that, just let me know, send me an email or give me a phone call, and I will make sure that any work that's handed late for a real good reason is not docked late, okay? If it's 1 week late, within the 1 week late, then you're going to lose some points. If it's more than 2 weeks late, you'll get 0 points. But if there's a good reason for missing, I'm going to work with you, okay? The second thing is everybody's going to be in some groups. Now, the group, this week is the icebreaker activity where you just tell a little bit about yourself. That's simple, introduce you to the class. Everybody can get on and chime in and say, hey, I'm from Alaska too, or I like that food, or hey, I served my mission same place you did, what a cute baby, whatever, okay? But what you're going to do next week, though, there is a case study. Actually, the case study's in 2 weeks, but there's going to be a topic for you guys to discuss. Your job is to read through the material and post on the discussion board your comment. That's 1/3 of the assignment. The other two-thirds are you need to comment on 2 other people's posts, okay? Your post and someone else's post. So it's really helpful if you will try to make in fact, you're instructed to, try to make your first comment by Wednesday. Then you have Thursday and Friday to comment on the other people's, okay?
Brother Davis, are those groups within the class, or is the group the class itself?
Well, right now, the group is the class itself. I can go in, and so everybody's in. We have 2 sections of 50 students each. I could make it a group of 4 or 5, but it's not like you're going to all become fast friends from this group discussion, maybe. But it's just easier if you have this big group, and it's easier to comment. So sometimes I put people in groups of 4 or 5, and if you're the only one that did things on time, you're waiting, and it's just hard. So there's going to be 2 big groups, 50 each. Okay? Other questions? Now, let me tell you this. For the sake of people who have to watch this recording, I will always stop the recording a little bit before, so I will stop the recording here in a minute because this is all we needed to cover today. That saves everybody else time. But I will stay on for the next few minutes if anybody else has questions, okay? So that we don't waste the recording time. Okay, any last questions before I stop the recording? All right, thank you all, and I will stay on for other questions.